Alright, so Chibi Review's got another video for us. I'm gonna go react to it. It says, One Piece will never be the same because of this great news. Alright, so what does he say here? One Piece to become late night anime next month changes time slot for first time in 18 years. Wait, what?
One Piece to become late night anime next month. Changes time slot for first time in 18 years.
Really?
Then we have this. With this, after 18 years, the One Piece English dub will officially be caught up to the Japanese version of the main story.
True.
Wanted to share a few thoughts of my part of this enormous team effort. And then
Personally, I love the dub. It's great. It's one of the best dubs out there. Definitely check it out if you guys get the chance.
And here's what they have to say. You can pause the video if you want to read the entirety of it. But there's been a lot of One Piece news as of late. Articles being written and all sorts of different things to the ratings of One Piece being surpassed by soul leveling. There's just been a lot. So let's dive head first into this and let's talk about it. So, as we all know, what's happened for these last few months has been the longest break that the One Piece anime, I think, has ever experienced. I think it is the first time it's ever experienced a break of this magnitude since its inception.
It's been like 6 months since One Piece has taken its break. That's crazy long for a long-running anime series like this, especially with how popular it is. Though I think it deserves it with how much it's been like adapting the material in terms of like speed. I mean, granted, the reason why the pacing is so bad is because the anime is trying to slow itself down like chapter by chapter just to make sure that Oda has enough space between him and the anime. But with this break, Oda has gotten really far with the manga, and this allows for the anime to revamp its animation and hopefully give us a much better product when it starts re-airing.
As an anime since it started airing in the 1990s. Okay, it has been that long, so to speak, and the fact that One Piece is also changing its time slot is a pretty big deal that I think a lot of people are not really grasping, and I'm going to get into that in a moment, I promise. But the thing is that with the overall hiatus that One Piece has had, it's had a lot of time now to cook. A lot of time for Toei and the animators and everything to really cook and work on the future of One Piece's anime, because it is something that has been just so ongoing for so long, week after week after week with no breaks, and the only time there ever was breaks.
I'm surprised like how One Piece was able to do that every single week for over 2 decades. Do you know how hard that shit is? And to stay relevant for that long? That's insane. Especially with even with how bad the pacing was, people still watched and tuned in for One Piece because the lore is insane. It goes so hard.
Was when, like, for instance, there's a holiday of some kind. So there was very few breaks for One Piece's anime, but this is the first time. And it's very clear by the format, the temperature within the anime industry. It seems more or less what this is going to do with this time slot change and what's been happening, which is, this is kind of old news, but this most likely is going to lead to One Piece becoming a seasonal anime, which I think
I honestly hope that happens. If One Piece becomes a seasonal anime, a lot of good would come with it, because you get better quality for the story, better quality for the animation, like we've just discussed, and overall, I think just a better, more neatly packaged product than what we've been getting. And it's surprising that we've been getting such great animation and like story, even if the pacing isn't to everyone's liking. It was still pretty fucking good. And what's crazy, I used to be like such a I used to be very hesitant with watching One Piece because it was so long, and then one of my friends got into it and he was like, dude, you gotta get into it, you will get hooked immediately. And lo and behold, episode 1, I was immediately like, holy fuck, this is great. But I didn't really get into One Piece till I started seeing like the more enhanced animation back in Wano, and I think that's what like got me in the door. But then like once I started episode 1, I was immediately hooked. I was never leaving, and I've become such a huge fan of One Piece, as you can clearly see.
Is a good thing. It is a good thing for One Piece, because let's outline the reasons, okay? Really the benefits of it.
Yeah.
For one, it means that One Piece can segue into adapting arcs and be able to adapt it in a proper way and pacing.
Yeah.
Allow the manga to have enough chapters ahead for the anime doesn't feel like it's, breathing down Oda's neck, breathing down the manga's neck, and having to make slow episodes,
Yeah. Allowing Oda more time to write the story just increases the quality overall. And it's weird how they haven't been able to do this from the get-go. Like, you would think after Whole Cake Island, they would have taken this type of break to allow the arc to flow more naturally and not have the same kind of pacing it did in Wano. Not saying that pacing was necessarily atrocious, but it could have been handled better, definitely.
Episodes that only adapt maybe half a chapter, maybe not even that, per episode. So the overall 6-month break alone is a good thing, but if it turns into a seasonal, it means that they can release like 12, 24, maybe even 30-something episodes, and then they straight up, they go on break for maybe 6 months to a year, they come back and they adapt the next arc of One Piece.
I agree with that.
It seems like that is necessarily the future of the anime, especially with the time bracket change. I think that is a huge thing that is going to lead to One Piece being...
I think the other thing is like the time bracket, which I'm sure he's going to bring up. With the change in the time bracket, One Piece is going to be a little bit more edgier, because in the manga, it's got like way more gruesome things that happen in it. Like, if you go back to Marineford, you could see that Whitebeard is actually missing part of his face because of his fight with Akainu. And like, there's just like so much more grittiness to the manga that the anime leaves out, specifically because of the time slot. But with this new time slot, that might change.
Higher quality than it ever has been in a very, very long time. And so let's actually explain that one. So the thing is a lot of people are going to assume with the time slot change, all that's going to change is potentially when you're going to be able to watch One Piece on a given day, okay? That's what a lot of people might assume, but that is completely wrong. A time slot change indicates that they can get away with a lot more, depending on when a show airs. For instance, if you have lived in the States, and you have, let's say, watched Adult Swim or Cartoon Network or anything like that, I think you're aware of how Adult Swim was done. For instance, you have Cartoon Network, and then eventually Adult Swim would have its bracket start maybe at 10, 11, or 12 o'clock at night. And at that point, adult shows could come on, and basically they could get away with a lot more, because obviously the demographic was different. It was meant for adults. And so in this case, with One Piece changing its time slot to an evening release, it means that they're going to be able to do a lot more with the anime that they normally couldn't, because they released it in...
People will be in the comments, be like, oh, pre-watched, but no, but like, I already kind of knew this beforehand. Like, it's kind of just a general thing with time slots, even in the US. Like, it's kind of a thing you pick up when you're a kid. Like, just the more adult stuff comes on late at night, because that's just how it is. Kids typically go to bed early, so it made sense for the networks of these adult shows to come on at later times. So yeah, this could only spell good things for One Piece, because then more mature things will be shown, and we'll be able to get a much more faithful and higher quality version of the anime.
In the morning in Japan, and aka in the morning is prime time for kids to sit down and watch the said show, like a Sunday morning cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon, you get the point. So if they have now shifted the anime to a late night showing, it means that they're now catering the show more or less to adults. They want adults to be able to view it because it's going to have a lot more darker content within it. And without spoiling anything, anyone that knows what is going to be adapted soon in the One Piece anime, Egghead, for instance, the second half of it, it's dark. It's definitely not family friendly. So
oh yeah, dude, probably the best timing for this, because like when I read what happened in the manga, holy shit, what people are about, what the anime watchers are going to witness is just insane. When what was his name, Bartholomew, Kuma, right, Kuma. Yeah, Kuma's backstory is actually just super sad, super dark, and by the end of like the whole origin story being fully explained to us, I fucking teared up. That shit had me in tears, because that was like one of the most well told backstories I've ever watched or read. And yeah, I can't wait to see what One Piece does, what they do with the anime.
So to speak, it's not by any means anyone that has read it, okay? It's not. It's probably some of the most darkest content within the story. I wouldn't say it's quote-unquote the, but it is one of the darkest moments of the One Piece story. And I think in general, the fact that we're going to be getting an evening time slot for One Piece, it means that the arc is going to be able to present itself in a better way without having to worry about censorship, toning things down, and we might actually start to see injuries once again on the characters, which, think about that for a second, okay? Go back to classic Toei, like when Toei used to release stuff and all that. Classic Toei used to have injuries on characters, like Luffy and stuff, to like, even think of like Dragon Ball. You know, you had injuries on characters. But over time, thanks to laws, rules, and, you know, all that within Japan and different reasons, it caused it to where they couldn't really get away with that anymore. And I think them going to an evening time slot means that we will now start to see more battle damage on characters. We'll start to see a lot more, let's say, blood, for instance. We'll actually get to see content that is, you know, just straight up looks exactly like the manga instead of having to be censored. For instance, a good, you know, area of censorship that, you know, a lot of people are unaware of is the Whitebeard censorship. Like this.
I was just talking about that.
This one's going to shock a lot of people, that Whitebeard's fight within the anime was censored in comparison to his manga equivalent, and anyone that actually has seen that is going to be shocked. It shocked me when I first found out about it. I was like, man, I cannot believe what we could have theoretically gotten in the One Piece anime if it wasn't for censors. Just, I hate censors in general, so just the fact that we could have gotten something even crazier for Whitebeard.
Censorship has been a real fucking problem with not just anime, but like few other things too, and I just don't understand what's the whole purpose of censoring these things, especially like words on YouTube. I'm sure you guys know which words I'm talking about, but like it just doesn't make sense. Like, why censor it? What is the purpose of censoring this? It completely detracts the point of showing the brutality of it. I just don't understand.
Is insane. Like, there was literally a whole panel of half of Whitebeard's literal head just gone.
Yeah.
Like, gone in the manga.
Oh, yeah.
But in the anime, it doesn't really show it, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. What I'm trying to say is that One Piece is doing a very phenomenal change. I think that changing its time slot is for the best in the health of the series, and it's going to benefit animators to be able to flex their skills and do whatever they want. For instance, like someone like Vincent, that is very notorious for making very good scenes within the One Piece anime. I feel like, you know, having less restrictions is going to allow them to flex their animator muscles and do whatever they want to do, so to speak. On top of that as well, I think that the seasonal aspect of it is going to benefit it too. It means that it'll have a better schedule, production time, being able to, you know, prep in time and be able to get what they want in a proper fashion where it doesn't feel rushed, or they only have one really gorgeous episode and then you gotta wait 5 episodes to get another gorgeous episode. Every episode theoretically could be a priority episode.
Yeah, I'm just pretty much adding on to what he's saying at this point. We're in total agreement of what is going to be good for this anime, and yeah, I don't I don't really think I have anything else to add to this. So, thank you, Chibi. I do agree with everything that you have to say, and uh, I can only hope for the best for One Piece, and seeing how this change can really affect the scale and scope of what the story can become. So, anyways, go check out Chibi. I'll leave a link in the description, and see you guys.